We did this study examining the effects of sunscreen on melanoma incidence in the population because there's good evidence that sunscreen prevents the cancer-causing mutations in skin cells. Sunscreen is also recommended by all the major cancer prevention agencies worldwide as a therapy to prevent skin cancer. And we also know that the use of sunscreen in the population, particularly in high incidence countries, is far less than optimum. So we decided to examine the effects of sunscreen by increasing the use in the population and seeing what effect that would have on melanoma incidence over the next 20 years. So we did the study by estimating the future incidence of melanoma in Australia and the United States, and we then estimated what's called the population impact fraction, which is to measure the effect of an intervention on a population. So to do that calculation, you need to know how common or how prevalent sunscreen use is in the population, and you need to know the magnitude of the effect of sunscreen when used as indicated in a population. And then by putting those factors together into a mathematical model, one can estimate over the next duration the impact of sunscreen on melanoma incidence. We found that in the United States and in Australia, by modelling different levels of sunscreen use under a plausible model of increasing use over the next 10 years, that we could reduce the incidence of melanoma in the US by 11% and in Australia by 10% out to 2031. So these are modest reductions, but they are important reductions. Under a theoretical maximum, that is, if we got everyone in the population using sunscreen every day, which is an ambitious target, but if we could do that, then we would see a reduction in melanoma incidence of 38% in the US and 34% in Australia. The study is relevant to policymakers because both in the United States and in Australia, melanoma is one of the top 5 most common cancers, and rates are rising in both populations. And so we need to find ways of reducing the impact of this cancer. The information that we've provided gives policymakers a reference point for estimating how much they can reduce the burden of melanoma through plausible, achievable targets on sunscreen use.